Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free TV and today's Wonder Women Wednesday. Today I have on Jackie Lapin. Jackie and I have known each other for years, and it's really fun to have her here and talk about what she's up to in the world. Jackie actually has an amazing program for all of you who are speakers and authors and what I call transformation messengers. So I'm really excited to bring her in here to talk about what she's up to, what her programs are and what she has to share with you, and a little bit about how she came to do the work that she does. Before I bring her in, I want to share with you, if you haven't already, to jump over to my website and pick up the free book, Rise Up. It's all about what's happening in the world right now, and check out all the other books and services I have there for you. And also, we are in the process of gravitating toward Nasara Jasara, and I know some of you know what that is. It's all about prosperity for the planet. The way to bring that into our consciousness and into our collective reality is if enough of us raise our vibration up to receive it. The money's actually been coded at a 5D, 5 density vibration, and it's been done that way to keep it out of the hands of those who are not in that high vibration resonance. So it's up to us to raise our resonance up to be able to receive it. I have 2 programs that can help you with that. One of those is on Ascended Masters store. It's called Cure Your Money Disease, and I'll leave that in the description below. And also my website, 6D Money Tree. It's actually a 9-part program that will teach you everything you need to know about growing prosperity in the etheric field, from cleaning your field to growing it, thriving, prospering, fruitful, and multiplying. So the website for that is 6dmoneytree.com, and I'll put that in the description below as well. Now, and before I forget, if you haven't already, please remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Share this forward with all of those you love and appreciate and who you want to grow into this new reality with you, because this is how we, with a capital W and a capital E, we all work together to create this new reality we're creating that is based in love and peace and harmony and prosperity for all life on Earth. Now, I'll bring in Jackie. Good morning, Jackie.
Hey, Victoria, I'm so delighted to be here in your beautiful presence. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome. It is so great to see you. I think it's been a while. We bump into each other once in a while.
Well, our spheres always interact. And so it's great when we sort of bounce back into each other.
I know, isn't it funny? I was excited when I saw you on Ascended Masters. I was like, oh my gosh, I know Jackie. I've known Jackie for years. And I don't even remember how I first met you, but we bump into each other at events and we bump into each other online. And I've been one of your affiliates for a long, long time.
You have, and we so appreciate that. So
you're so welcome. And so I'm really excited to hear where you're up to now. I know you have some new programs rolling out. So let's dive into that. And then let's go and talk about how you ended up coming up with these ideas.
Well, the first thing I want to tell you is that I am also, as you just mentioned, on Ascended Masters. We've got a couple of great training programs over there. I think I inhabit the conscious business one. That's where I think we started that category. So go on over there. And so as a leader, expert, author, you need to get out in front of audiences, right? You need to be where people are so that you can have influence, change their lives, and of course, make some money. Mm-hmm. So what we do is serve you as the member of the community who needs more visibility. And SpeakerTunity, my company, is committed to helping leaders get on stages faster, easier, and have more impact so you can spread your word around the world by doing less work. And so you'll find a couple of training programs over at Ascended Masters on how to get booked for speaking and how to get booked for radio shows and podcasts. I know that would be of value to you. But over at SpeakerTunity, we have a much more expanded resource. And we call ourselves the Speaker and Leader Resource Company, the Ultimate Speaker Toolbox. And what we've done is we've gone out and created directories of speaking opportunities at live and virtual speaking, at podcast radio shows and videocasts, at virtual summits, at TEDx's, virtual networking. So you don't have to find the opportunity. And the ones that we're really, really excited about, the two that we're launching right now are SpeakerTunity Cities, which gives you all the speaking gigs at meetings, venues, and associations right there in your own marketplace, between 1,500 and 3,000 leads just there in 4 categories. Business, which is subdivided into 55 industries, ethnicities, and genders. So you just want women's business meetings or entrepreneurs or healthcare professionals or real estate people, you can get them. Then the next category is all the service groups in your region. Then all the places that touch the consumer directly: moms groups, parenting, seniors, health and wellness support groups, military, LGBT, other special interest groups, bookstores, libraries, and hospitals. So if you're doing a book tour, this is great. And then lastly, spiritual. So we have Unity, Centers for Spiritual Living, and faith-based groups. It's built for the spiritual leader who wants to cover any or all of those areas. Now, let's say that you don't want all that variety and you just want one specific niche. Well, we've created SpeakerTunity Speaker Specialties, where you can just zero in and get all the meetings and venues and associations for the leaders who control those, the bookers, in your niche. So we've got 60 different niches. So whichever one is right for you, you can either be speaking all across the country or just pick your region: East, West, Midwest, South, or Canada. And so that's what's really exciting. In addition to that, now we also have tools. So if you want to have your speaker one sheet design, you can pick from a template, pick colors, and then fill in the form we give you. You don't even have to think about what to put in there. And your speaker sheet or your podcast introductory sheet back. Now, coming a little later this year, we'll help you with book flyers, speaker handouts, and promotional ebook designs, and then also your slide design. So all of those will be there to make it so easy for you as a speaker to get the visibility that you need. And then if you're a speaker that wants to translate your programs into the corporate marketplace. Now, most people think, well, they don't like what I do because it's too spiritual, it's too woo-woo. But in this environment, they are looking for something different. They have a lot of really unhappy employees that are, suffering through either the pandemic or the big resignation. And so they want to really find out what they can do to create happier, more motivated, more engaged employees that are mentally healthy right now. So you might be acceptable. So we have a training program on how to get booked in the corporate marketplace that might be really, really ideal for you too. So, and then all that said, let's say you get one of our directories with 2 or 3 or 400 or even 1,000 leads in it, and you don't want to do the booking yourself. Well, we have a new service that's our strategic partner called Book For You Virtual Assistants. And you can basically retain them at 20, 40, or 80 hours a month to take those directories and go out and try to get you those speaking gigs. We're just making it so simple. We're taking around all the objections as to why you're not getting on stages. No time, not enough money, don't have a virtual assistant, et cetera, et cetera. All we're not going to teach you to do is how to speak. That is the job of a good speaker trainer. We just help you, teach you how to get booked and give you the tools and the means and the directories to get there faster.
Wow, what a fantastic service. And I know some great speaker trainers. And I know that you do too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm actually a big advocate of Toastmasters because it's Toastmasters transformed my life.
It's a great organization, you betcha. And if you want to stay on, just at that level, it's a great opportunity to get started. If you really want higher mentoring, that's when you go to a speaker coach. But Absolutely. The other thing I was going to tell you also, and by the way, you did hear me say I got a TEDx directory. A couple things that you can look forward to seeing coming up. We're going to have a conference Find Their directory, and we're going to have how to get booked on a TEDx training program. So if any of those things are things that we don't have yet and you want, go to the bottom of the page at SpeakerTunity, put in your information. That'll put you on the list so that we alert you when these things come up. So we're looking for basically covering all the empty spots that a speaker needs to fill.
That is fantastic. And actually, for all of you who are watching, before you go to SpeakerTunity, I'm going to put my affiliate link in the description below. So you can go to SpeakerTunity through my affiliate link, and that's how part of how I get paid for doing the work that I do. As all of you know, I just started monetizing my YouTube channel, and I'll see how that works, but I don't really sell anything on my show. I promote other people, but one of the ways that I earn money is through my affiliates. So I'm going to put my affiliate link to Jackie's SpeakerTunity down below, and I would really appreciate it if you use my affiliate links. Okay.
We would too, because we love to support our partners.
Yeah. And I've been one of yours for years, and because I so much believe in the work that you do. And I can say from being a speaker, not really dabbling, but trying to do it on my own for the last 10 years, being a speaker and writing a podcast, and also being a full-time mom at the same time, trying to do it all myself has been really, really difficult. And trying to find the leads and find the resources has been really difficult. And so the services that you provide are invaluable.
Thank you. Well, we're a one-of-a-kind company. Nobody's doing what we do. So we take real pride in that. We're filling a void.
Yeah. And what's great is that you saw a void that needed to be filled. And I love how you're adding the ancillary services as well. It's really like this one-stop shop. You don't have to go find a branding person to do your one sheets for you and go find another person to do your, you do like media kits kind of, right? It's that same kind of, or you've broken them down into different one sheets.
Well, we do the media kit essentially when I'm doing a radio podcast tour, which is my other company, Conscious Media Relations. And that's where we introduce authors to 9,000 radio shows and podcasts at the very same time with a minimum guarantee of 30 interviews. And you might recognize some of the people we've done them for: Don Miguel Ruiz, Ariel Fort, James Twyman, Joe Vitale, Chris and Janet Atwood, Maureen St. Germain, Denise Lynn, all luminaries in this space. And we've got about 80 amazing testimonials on that page. Now, when I build that, I do a media kit for those clients. Right now, we don't have that as a service on SpeakerTunity, but we may look to do that in the future.
Okay. But they can get one if they go over, if they're an author and they go to your content.
Absolutely. It's part of the package.
Excellent. What a phenomenal service you provide. So how did you come across this? I know that for a long time, I think when I first met you, you were a speaker and an author out there trying to make it work for yourself. And so let's talk about that, where you were and what prompted you to do what it is you're doing now.
So let's go way back. I got motivated to want to become a sports writer at the age of 11. And so I went on to become one of the first sports writers, women sports writers in America. I was at the Detroit Free Press at 20, the Associated Press and on the front pages of the LA Times at 21, and the Washington Post at 22. I left there and I ultimately started one of the largest sports special events and cable TV PR agencies in America. And for 20 years, I had an amazing world-class client list, including companies like Toyota Motorsports and Showtime and Avon and Seagram's and the National Hockey League and many, many others. And last thing I did was launch the worldwide poker phenomenon with the World Poker Tour. When that kind of wrapped up, as things were changing, the media was changing, and it wasn't much fun anymore. I started to write 2 books in personal growth. I was called to that. That was my spiritual calling. The first was called The Art of Conscious Creation: How You Can Transform the World. The second was called Practical Conscious Creation: Daily Techniques to Manifest Your Desires. That book was the best spiritual book of the year at the International New Age Trade Show. And when I completed those books, I realized that my heart lay with the people that were making the world a better place. That's what I really wanted to be doing. So I rebranded the company as Conscious Media Relations. And that's when I started doing the radio podcast tours. And as I said, we've been doing them now for over a dozen years. And in fact, last year we did 40 of them. And so in the course of that, about 6 or 7 years ago, people said, can you book me for speaking gigs? Can you book me for speaking gigs? And finally I said, the universe is trying to tell you something, honey. Why aren't you paying attention? So I said to all of those folks, I don't want to book you myself, but I know where those gigs are. Why don't I just tell you? And that's how the very first SpeakerTunity was born. That SpeakerTunity Speaker Leads, which is really for a transformational leader, which is a kind of a smorgasbord of leads all over North America, a subscription service. And so that was the first. And then it became apparent that we either had resources or there was an area that wasn't being served, like virtual summits, and nobody had aggregated them. So I'm thinking, okay, let's add radio and podcasts, because we can pull from our database, and let's add summits. So those were our first three products, and they were the legacy products, the ones that we've been promoting. And then the pandemic hit. We had started to build SpeakerTunity's regional speaker lead directories. We had about 15 of them, and we were going to start promoting them. And then, of course, how can you promote a directory for speaking gigs when there aren't any happening?
Right.
So we pulled back. We promoted the radio podcast tours as an alternative because people need to get online and still market themselves. But we spent that time behind the scenes building the rest of the regional directories. We now have 75 of them. And we have over 140,000 listings in our database at this point. And the thing that really was important is that now we were in a position to, as the pandemic transformed into something that we can more adjust to, either whether it's virtual or live, that we were now positioned right. So as the pandemic was going on, that whole stretch of a year and a half, not only did we start beefing up those, but it became apparent that, hey, we could repurpose this data for specialties. And there were these other areas like training programs and all these other kinds of things and speaker sheets and things like that, that just seemed to be something that people were seeking. And so I spent last year basically in product mode, developing, putting things together, building things for people. And frankly, it hasn't stopped. It's kind of like somebody lit a fire in my brain. The universe is sitting there going, okay, now you need to do this one. And so I create. I say that I follow the universe's breadcrumbs, listen to what God tells me, and then I fulfill that need. And that's how things evolve for me. I mean, I call myself a serial pioneer, but that's the result of the fact that the universe keeps giving me a little nudge, go in this direction. And I think the key to what has really been a hallmark of my life is I'm not listening to what society says, and neither should you be. Everybody here should be listening to their inner guidance. What is it that is meaningful for you? What is it that you're called to do? And that's what I do. And for me, it was the universe. God and I have this great relationship, and I listen to what he guides me on, and then I act. And all those brilliantly, responsive pitch letters that I do for the radio podcast tour, that to me, that's channeled work. The universe is giving me that information, how to basically capsulize any individual, to capture their mission, their message, their book, and their soul in a page and a half. And so for me, that relationship with the divine is critical to the success that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about that is that you listen and you act on it. So, people ask me all the time, well, how do you, because I communicate with spirit too. How do you communicate with spirit? I'm like, well, it's always talking to us. The difference is that some of us know how to listen.
Yeah.
And some of us act on what we hear. So what a lot of people do is they'll get the message, then they'll sit on it, they ho-hum about it, they're not ready yet, they'll, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet. And there's an aspect that says, no, not me, that's too big for me, or whatever. But there could be a long list of reasons why they don't act on the prompting. And one of the things I found is that nobody's ever the only person that gets the prompting. The difference is whether you choose to act on it or not. So you're probably not the only person who got that message because it's floating out there in the airwaves, but you did something with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the difference.
And, it's kind of like, I can't not do it.
Right.
When I'm being called to, it's like, okay, you're right. If I sit on it, somebody else will do it.
Yeah.
So, I believe, and part of my team said, "Hey, wait a minute, we haven't launched this last one yet. Why are you working on the next one?" It's because I have to create it while it's in my mind, while the universe is downloading this information to me, even if we don't launch it right now. It's like, I just told you about three products that are not yet that are not yet finished. They're on the drawing boards.
Yeah.
Because I know they're going to come. I know when they're going to come. And I just want to make sure that people start anticipating that if they're going to need it, they can reach out.
Well, and energetically, you're setting it into motion.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's not like you've taken it and then you're tabling the idea over here. It's like, oh, got this idea. You set it into motion and it starts being created. Whether it's ready to be launched or not, it's already in the creation process.
Well, and the minute you really start moving forward, the universe starts opening doors.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you start seeing things that are pertinent to what you're looking for.
Right.
Or people show up that you need to support you on that.
Right. And that's what it comes back to, that art of conscious creation that you were talking about.
Exactly. It's not just manifesting. It's kind of what you were talking about, is making sure that you are in a high frequency state.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are in that high frequency state, then things start showing up.
They do. It's almost like magic.
Yeah.
I call synchronicity the magic of the universe, because that's really what it is. When you have yourself in that elevated state, it's like boom, boom, all the people and all the resources you need just start being put right in front of you.
Yeah.
And then there's the choice of, what do I do with this? Because some people, it gets placed right in front of them and then they don't recognize it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's more signs than you can possibly imagine when the universe has something ready for you. And pay attention to what you hear at night, because a lot of times when your brain is at rest, the universe is trying to get stuff through to you. Sometimes there are nights when I can't sleep, simply because the universe is going, and I have to get up and actually start writing notes. Otherwise, I'll lose it all.
You know what? I need to do that, because the universe gave me some great words in last night, and then later I couldn't remember what they are.
It's terrific. Get up and put it on paper immediately.
Like, oh man, what was that I was thinking earlier? And I really just need to roll over, even if it's to grab my phone and speak it into my phone really quick, just because it comes, I get the words and then they go right back out. And let me go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So you're very clear that your role is to support the messengers.
Yes. Yeah. And Victoria, we talked about the fact that I also obviously have 2 books and a message of my own.
Right.
And while I don't do a lot on the practical conscious creation side these days, I still maintain a website. Both of my books up on Amazon, and my first book is now on Audible. So, I know that the message is getting out there, and at some point I will get back out and work more deeply in that space. But I have my hands full with SpeakerTunity and conscious media relations right now. But so I have my message that I've been given, but the area that I really feel the need to focus in is serving the rest of the messengers.
Right. Well, we're in this transition phase right now for humanity. And so, like you, I've gotten a very clear message that this is what my role is right now. Now, that might change in a couple of years, but right now, what I'm doing here with Fearless and Free TV, and with what I'm presently doing on my website, that's what I'm called to do right now. In a couple of years, that might shift into something else. But right now, in this transition phase that humanity is going through, this is what we're being called to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And, the blessing is that the number of us who are in the space of aware light workers, change makers, that group is growing. Mm-hmm. We are definitely seeing an increase of leaders across the world that are awakening to their power and their mission and their service to others. And so that's really the good part. I mean, I know we are definitely fighting forces of darkness, instability, and lack of compassion and selfish, motives. But the more of us there are, the more we can have an influence on those.
Absolutely.
Others.
Yeah, and I'm looking at what's happening now for me is very similar to what happened well when I had my spiritual awakening after the 2008 recession. And that's happening now, but on a much, much bigger scale of the number of people that are waking up to their spiritual paths.
Yeah.
And all of those people are going to need support.
Agreed. Agreed. And we have a larger number of youngsters are coming in enlightened. And so that's really a wonderful factor. And they will have an influence on their parents eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and it's really an amazing time to be here because we are in this, as I said, the transition phase. I see it as the chrysalis phase for humanity. So we're moving out of the old world. We're in this chrysalis where we're restructuring ourselves. And this amazing butterfly is going to emerge when we're finished with this transition process. So right now we are in the process of recreating our human experience. And we all get to be a part of that and mutually supporting each other as we go through it. And so I love the service that you're providing because you're making it possible for all of those people who are starting to wake up and realize that they are messengers, that they all have a book inside them. It's so funny. When I wrote my first book, somebody told me I had 12 books in me, and I was like, that's crazy. I don't have 12 books in me. And so what's really funny is I've already written 4 of them. I'm in the process of writing 2 more. So whoever that was right. And it's funny. I talked to Neil Donald Walsh a couple of weeks ago and he said, oh yeah, 30, piece of cake, 30 books.
Well, I have one more on my sequence and I just haven't gotten around to it. Eventually there'll be a third in mine too.
Yeah, it's in there. It's just on hold because
it's germinating.
What's that?
It's germinating.
Yeah. Well, and right now you have a very important work to do of getting this all set up for those of us who need it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, one of my biggest frustrations over the years has been trying to figure out how to get seen and heard and not even knowing where to go. And I'm so excited about the TED Talks because that's been on my bucket list, so to speak. I already know what the name of my talk is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Care to share it?
It's called The Power of Self-Trust.
Oh, nice. I like that. That's very cool.
It's all about learning to trust ourselves. And it is one of the most difficult things for people to access because pretty much everything we've been told our whole lives is that we can't trust ourselves. We're always looking outside of ourselves for everything. And it's always inside.
That sounds like a great topic.
Yeah.
See you on a TEDx stage, my dear.
I do too. Thank you for that.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So how exciting for you to be able to do this for people. I know that you need to rush out a little bit earlier today. You can't take up the whole full hour that I normally do. So do you have anything else that you want to share with people before you leave?
Well, the first is don't hide your light under a bushel. If you have a message, you need to be getting it on stages. And if you're intimidated by getting on stages, 2 factors. 1, start with podcasts. That's a great way for you to start perfecting your presentation, getting comfortable in front of an audience, and then you can work up your way to live and virtual speaking engagements. Now, let me give you a nice little methodology if you're facing that I'm too scared to get on a stage. So here's the thing. If you think that they're looking at you and they're judging you and they're trying to figure out, well, God, I don't like the way she looks. I don't like the way she speaks. She wears glasses, whatever it might be that you're imagining all the judgment that's coming at you. I got news for you. Get over it. They don't care about you. They care about whether you can give them vital information that's going to change their world. So if you stand back and think in terms of, hey, they need me. They need what I have. I am here in service to this audience. I have something that is so important that must be imparted to them. And if you go out on stage from that position of, I'm here to serve, your butterflies will go away. Mm-hmm. And you will feel confident being on stage, knowing that they need what you have.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we take our eyes off of us, because it's not about me, it's about the message.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And realize that, as long as you are giving value, you will be embraced. Just remember that. As long as you are bringing value, you will be embraced, and you will get better and better and better at doing that
Mm-hmm.
more stages that you're on. So start local, which is one of the reasons that we recommend SpeakerTunity regional speaker lead directories. Get familiar in your community, whether it's live or virtual. Start doing things that are friendly to you because you're a local, and then you can step up to conferences and other big things, or speaking engagements all across the country in your genre. So, start getting your feet wet, and you'll see as you grow in confidence, your revenue will grow,
Mm-hmm.
influence will grow, and the impact you have in the world will grow.
Yeah. Well, it's like the old saying, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So just do it.
Well, and one of the things I'll tell you, when I was doing, I did almost 100 radio shows for Practical Conscious Creation. And by the time I'd done that, first, one of the things is you should be supplying questions to the interviewer. Don't, expect them to figure out what to say to you. So by the time you have gone through those questions 100 times, you know your stuff. And it's basically a speech chopped into smaller portions. So by the time you get on stage, as I did after doing 100 interviews, it flowed. It was so easy because I had it down. And so that's what you should know, is that the more you do it, even if it's chunked in pieces, the easier it's going to be to deliver a full presentation.
Right. And I love the idea of starting on podcasts and get comfortable being on camera, making friends with the camera. Where 10 years ago when I first started speaking, there wasn't really a lot of opportunity for that. Where now everybody is on camera.
60% of the podcasts are on camera or more at this point. Yeah, that's why we call them video casts.
Great place to warm up your voice, open up that throat chakra on camera, make friends with the camera. Yeah, I remember the first time I got interviewed, I was terrified and didn't know what to do on the camera. Now, obviously, it's no big deal because the camera's my friend. But and that first time speaking on stage, I was terrified. I gave that first Toastmasters presentation and I almost cried. I was so afraid. And I had just to share with you my very first presentation. And one of the things I love about Toastmasters is the evaluations that you receive. And a lot of people hate those evaluations, but they are a godsend because they really, really help you improve your presentation. And that very first presentation, one of my evaluator said, "Honey, you slap your thighs louder than you speak."
That's a great line. I remember when I co-hosted Dodger Dugout in my senior year of college on Channel 11 here in Los Angeles. And I had a microphone. And I was so nervous. And my hands was just doing all these funky things with the microphone. And my brother said to me, "What did you do with the microphone?" And I stopped. I mean, once I knew what I was doing, I got conscious of it and I stopped doing that. But, you do a lot of unconscious things when you first start out. So
the nervous energy. So which is why it's so great to start small, start local, someplace where you're really comfortable, practice in front of the mirror, practice in front of your friends. And then, the more you do it, then it just gets to the point where now I'm like, no big deal. Somebody can ask me to come in and speak and give me a 5-minute notice and I'm on it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, yes, you have to be prepared. You have to have, a structured presentation. You shouldn't memorize your presentation.
Right.
Those
are awful.
Yeah. You should really basically know the structure. I'm going to do this at this stage, and this at this stage, and this at this stage, and this is this. And so, the words aren't going to be the same, but you'll essentially cover the same material each time you present. Right. And you'll get into a rhythm with it. So,
that your content.
And personally, I love doing PowerPoints. Now, that's not right for every circumstances, but I usually convey so much information that it's a fire hose for people, and it's much easier for them to digest it when they see it on a slide.
I agree. I agree. And yeah, and it depends on the presentation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, I am so excited that you were here today and share your message with people. And I got to share you with my audience and what you're up to in the world. And I'm really looking forward to diving into some of your programs, because some of them I've purchased and some of them I haven't. So I'm excited to see what you have over there.
Well, we welcome people to join our SpeakerTunity family. So thank you, Victoria. You're, a valued partner and a dear friend. And we, however we can support the community that you have built, we would love to do that. So thank you for the opportunity. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can always find me at Jackie@SpeakerTunity.com.
Great. Great. Well, it's been wonderful having you here. And for all of you who are watching, as I always say, remember to hold your light so high others can't help but see their own light. Together we are creating a world of peace, harmony, love, prosperity, and freedom for all life on earth. And as always, get bold, be fearless, and live free.